there, family. I'm working on this yoke, the Easy Eyelet yoke, and it occurred to me that I will be picking up stitches and casting on stitches and then joining, putting the sleeve stitches on hold or whatever. So I wanted to show you what that looks like in case you ever was curious, how do you pick up these stitches? So what I do, I don't use waste yarn. I just never have. When you have a collection of needles, just regular extra cords, it's always helpful to just get the 8-inch cords. They're great for putting your sleeves on hold. So I was supposed to pick up, I don't remember how many stitches. I'll check the pattern, but I'm gonna pick that up right now. All right, so I found out how many I need to pick up. So what I did, I had already picked up these right here, but when you're knitting, it tells you normally to knit X amount of stitches, and then it'll tell you to pick up or put onto waste yarn the next number of stitches. So you knit whatever that amount was and you stop, drop that needle, and then you come back with your spare needle and cord, and you're just going to start from where you left off and pick up those stitches. So you just put the needle in and pick them up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And then you just slide them onto the needle. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So even though you say you counted them out, you just want to double count them again because you want your number to read right. So I'm going to count again. So now I have all of my stitches on hold. You see that the cord is here. I have my stopper on one end. This is a 12-inch, no, this is an 8-inch cord that I'm using on this side. And I just put all of those stitches there. And then somewhere in a bag, I have another free end cap. And I'll just screw the ends on. So now when you need to go and start working on your sleeve section, you're already on the needle and you don't have to pick up the stitches from the spare yarn. You just go ahead and start knitting. So that's that. Then in the directions, normally for sleeves, it's going to tell you to do a backwards loop cast on or to cast on a number of stitches in order to create that little space between the back and the front, and the arm stitches is like that underarm section, so it's just a small section of stitches. For this particular pattern, it tells me to cast on 9. So normally with a backwards loop cast on, you would just take your thumb here, put your thumb like this, and you would kind of, it's not a very tight cast on, and this is what a backwards loop looks like. So you just kind of use your thumb, go to your left, put your needle tip underneath and through, and drop it, and that's a backwards loop cast on. Now the reason I don't personally like this is because it is a little loose, and for me, I've noticed that it creates a little bit more gappage in between the last stitch I knit and the cast on stitches. So many years ago, I don't know how many, I either read it in a book or a pattern, I don't remember, but they suggested doing a knitted cast on, which essentially is, if you know anything about a regular knitted cast on, you put the stitch in, you knit it, and you take it off and put it back on the other needle. That's all that this is. Well, in order to do a knitted cast on from the sleeve stitches, you have to turn your work around so that your working yarn is where it needs to be, like a cast on. So when you're casting on a set of stitches, you have nothing going on the right hand. Everything is going on to the left. So just kind of turn your work facing you, well, the back side of the work, so you're technically looking at the inside of the sweater or the garment, and you're going to have your working yarn here over in your right hand or left hand, however you cast on. Work facing you. What you're going to do is put your right needle into the stitch as if to knit. Wrap your yarn around and pull it out. This loop that you just created, swing it around and put it on the left hand needle tip and drop it. Do it again. So you basically knit the stitch, but instead of leaving it on the right, you're going to turn it around and put it back on the left. Knit it. Don't drop it. Turn it around and put it on the left. And that's a knitted cast on for adding on stitches under the underarm. I was trying to think, is there any other projects that I do this for? And I think this might be the only thing. So for sleeves, 2, 4, 6, 7. And I have 8 and 9. So now I have my 9 stitches that it told me to cast on, and I'm just going to turn the work back around so that I can pick or continue knitting in the round. So here's my sleeve stitches that are on hold. They're on this needle. And all we're going to do is get over here to this left hand needle and join our work again. So just fix your stitches, get it situated so that you can knit properly. And now you have your working yarn with the last cast on stitch that you made. And I don't know if you noticed the difference, but for me, having it cast on like this makes it easier for me when I'm picking up the stitches to work in the round for the sleeve. I don't know. I've done it for so long. This is the only way that I like to do it. And until I've run into a problem where it doesn't work for me, this is the way I'm going to keep doing it. So you got your last casted on stitch. I casted on my 9 stitches, and now I'm just going to continue knitting in the round until I get to my beginning of round marker. And I think it makes it so that it's not so tight. I feel like with the backwards loop cast on, because it has no structure, it literally is just pushed up against the needle, and sometimes you wiggle your stitches or wiggle your needle in to get into the stitch, and you almost kind of sort of, I don't know, make the stitch too loose. I'm not sure how to describe it, but I know when I learned to do it this way with the knitted cast on under the arm, it just made the progress a lot easier for me when making the sleeves. So that is that. So once you have your stitches on for your sleeve and your other sleeve, you just go ahead and keep knitting the body in the round until you get to your desired length. At least that's what my pattern says. And then you go back and you do your sleeves. Because this is a short sleeve pattern, I won't bother doing the sleeves first, but normally when I work on sweaters of any type, I always just knit like three or four rows on the body just to get some length under the sleeve, and then I just work on the sleeves first because I don't like getting stuck on Sleeve Island. It gets depressing. So, and I don't want to run out of yarn, but since the sleeves are short, I'll just go ahead and save this until the end. I hope that helps.